They say that you should begin a sermon with a joke. I don't think that's necessarily true. In fact, I think if you can stick the landing, you can do better by concluding a sermon with a joke. Should we try it? And here I quote, "Amusement was the Creator's daily delight, and laughter was heard throughout God's inhabited world." Now, I've been a little bit liberal with my translation, but in June of last year, none other than Pope Francis, may his memory be a blessing, convened at the Vatican an international conference of comedians. It's true. And I believe the technical term for a gathering of comedians in that number is a riot of comedians. The Pope taught this very midrash about humor being there by God's side at the birth of the world. And then the story continues that wisdom placed amusement and delight, indeed laughter itself, in the garden and throughout the land. And then the Pope went on quoting the ancient rabbis. And so it is that just as God put humor into the world, so it is that when we manage to draw knowing smiles from even one other human being, or we make another person laugh, we are, in a very real way, making the Holy One and all of the heavens smile. And at what might we imagine God smiles? What is it that makes God laugh? Would it surprise you to learn that Jewish tradition posits that human beings are God's greatest delight? The rabbis teach that when we read, again in Proverbs, the one who is enthroned in heaven laughs, the rabbis tell us that God is laughing at human hubris, at human folly, and at our all too human pretensions. Specifically, these divine punchlines reveal themselves, wait for it, in our quest for control, our pursuit of permanence, and our yearning after immortality. And, most of all, our high opinion of ourselves. It is these human foibles and failings that God cannot help but laugh at. But of course, this we intuitively already know from what is surely the most widely held piece of Jewish, or if you will, Yiddish theology. You all know it, of course. A Mensch tracht und Gott lacht. Humans plan and God laughs. And of course, we also have a rich vein of tradition wherein God laughs when the rabbis, that is to say, when God's children, best God in a debate. And any parent who has had that experience knows both the frustration and the secret joy of your children beating you in an argument. God delights in our successes, be assured of that. And why wouldn't this be the case? After all, humor is found. That is to say, laughter is released in the sudden recognition that something is not as it initially seemed. Indeed, humor is predicated upon, humor relies upon unresolved contradictions, inconsistencies, unexpected reversals and paradoxes, and the absurdities of life. In essence, everything that will inevitably befall, yet unpredictably come to us, everything that inevitably falls, all who are vulnerable, all who are fallible, all who are fragile human beings. Why is that? Because life, as we know too well, is uncertain and often hurts. Nature is indifferent. The world can be cruel. People disappoint. Love falters. Fortunes turn. Inevitably, our bodies betray us, and then one day, death arrives at our door. Or in the words of the Borscht Belt, the food here is terrible, and the portions, they're too small. And so at its heart, our ability to laugh is a tool, allowing us, if only for a moment, to triumph over our fear and our looming despair. And we need laughter. It is truly the best medicine because it is a holy remedy, perhaps the closest thing we have truly, to chicken soup for the soul. I tell you that in the year ahead, it will be our ability to laugh to ourselves, at ourselves, so as to make someone else smile, to make God and the angels in heaven smile in the coming year, in even the most trying of times, and they will certainly come. It will be our ability to laugh that will make life's unfortunate, predictable rhythms, as well as life's unpredictable reversals, as well as all of life's absurdities. Laughter will make them bearable again and again and again. Now, I hope you do not think me glib or overly naive, nor to hear me suggest that a good joke or a quick quip will cure all ills or placate every pain. I do not suggest that. But none other than Dr. Viktor Frankl, famed Viennese psychiatrist and survivor of Auschwitz, describes the ability to find humor in even the most absurd and the grimmest of circumstances as not only, as we might imagine, a pressure valve or a release. In the camps, in Auschwitz, Dr. Frankl writes, the ability to laugh was a tool for survival, for it offered a supreme act of resistance. The ability to laugh, Dr. Frankl taught, the ability to laugh is a vital safeguard of our sanity. Indeed, Dr. Frankl continues, in the camps, humor was among the soul's greatest weapons, for it is well known that more than anything else, humor offers the ability to rise above any situation, if only for a few seconds. Every joke is a tiny revolution. That's George Orwell. And there's a lot of truth in his words. Humor can help us to feel as if we are rebelling or pushing back against the forces that oppress us. But so too does humor have the ability, again in the words of Pope Francis, to foster closeness between people and to unite different people together, because it is easier to laugh together than it is to fight one another. And as if to prove the point, the Talmud records the following story. Rabbi Baroka frequented the marketplace where the prophet Elijah would often appear to him. Now, Elijah, you may recall from the Passover Seder. Elijah is the one who will tell us of the Messiah's arrival, according to Jewish tradition. And Elijah is also, incidentally, the one who will resolve all the disputes that have not been answered and will reconcile all parties who are at odds with one another. And so Baroka asked of Elijah, is there anyone in this marketplace who has merited the world to come? Just then, two men walk by. Elijah signals to them and says to the rabbi, these two have a share in the world to come. So Baroka asked these two men, what are your occupations? We are badchanim, they reply. We are jesters. When we see people who are sad, we strive to cheer them up. And when we come upon two who are quarreling, we strive to make them laugh so that they may thereby go and begin to make peace with each other. For this, making others laugh when they need to, they merit heaven's reward. For the ability to laugh together is everything. Remember back when we began this sermon, I mentioned that our tradition imagines God enthroned on high, taking delight and even laughing at all of us. First for our schemes and our plans, both when they pan out and when they've gone after glay. And then for our pretensions, our penchant for power, our yearning for immortality, and our preening, our high expectations and opinions of ourselves. Indeed, and this is a good reminder for all of us, I hear it myself, a good reminder on Yom Kippur, God delights in us because we are so prone to take ourselves so seriously. Reinhold Niebuhr, who was perhaps the 20th century's best-known American Protestant theologian, a contemporary of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, wrote in the 1960s a very important article entitled Humor and Faith. And in this piece, he taught, humor is a form of self-transcendence, for humor arises from the incongruities of life, especially our tendency to take ourselves so seriously. And then he continues, humor is an important vehicle for humility, particularly when confronting our own pretensions. Or in the words of a good Catholic, Pope Francis, is the Pope Catholic? And what very well may be for us the best advice we can take on Yom Kippur. When you see yourself in the mirror, when you catch your own reflection looking back at you, and you like what you see, laugh. Now please, none of this is to suggest, on Yom Kippur especially, that life or our lives are not to be taken seriously. They are. Above all else, life is serious business. L'chaim, to life, we say. It is who we are. My message today is that we must not only take life seriously, life deserves far more from us than that. After all, life provides us with a daily complement of enough challenges and worries, enough sorrows and suffering, as well as enough unexpected and often sudden life reversals, setbacks, and losses, enough to boggle the mind, enough to break the heart. And so, quoting Robert Frost in a line that was later lifted and turned to lyric by none other than Jimmy Buffett, if we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane. On Yom Kippur, the most serious of our holy days, our tradition reminds us that laughter, too, is a sacred service. To share a laugh, if only for a moment, with those among whom we live, among whom those we love, even to laugh at ourselves and to laugh with someone with whom we disagree. This is not a trivial thing. Indeed, I suggest to you it can be transformational. In the face of all that we curse, laughter may be the most praiseworthy response we can muster. And so the sermon now all but ended. Let me return to where I started with that joke I promised you. The funeral service has ended. The mourners are beginning to slowly file past the grave as they prepare to return to their cars. One mourner tentatively approaches the grieving widow and says, "At a time such as this, I only have one word for you, plethora." Quietly, she nods and replies, "That means a lot." As does your laughter. It means a lot as well. Gamar Chatima Tova. May we each be sealed for blessing and much laughter in the year ahead. Amen. Shana Tova.